Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Memoir of my banking journey by Mr. V.H. Ramakrishnan, retired General Manager of Bank of India. Episode number 6. The chapter Nigerian Experiences which continue. The link of earlier episode is available in description. Nigerian Experiences. R.P. Narayan, a remarkable person. Ramesh Narayan, an expatriate officer, was already there when I landed in Lagos. He was from Kerala and married a Sindhi lady. I am not sure whether she was also working in BOI, Bank of India. Narayan was a go-getter, but a person with irregular habits. Narayan will rarely come to the office in time. Of course, our working hours were from 7:30 a.m. I used to call him and advise him to be on time. He'll smile like a child and apologize profusely and will promise that he would be on time henceforth. But after 2 days, he would be as late as usual. On top of it, he will enter the cabin yearning. Once he was yearning in front of our then chairman, Mr. Tiwari, who asked him, "Are you sleepy?" Maybe late night parties were responsible for this sleepy attitude. But somehow everyone liked him, including Mr. Tiwari, our other executives from HO, and Mr. Bello. The main reason was he will never say no to anything. To mention an item, he will get you. More than his routine job, he was good in special tasks and in public relations. He kept excellent relationship with the officers of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which helped our bank a lot. So I decided that I will overlook his weaknesses and focus on his strength. At the time of my taking charge, I learned that Bank of India missed a chance of refinancing the amount due from Nigeria. The amount of collection bills which were pending for forex allocations were all converted into a loan to be repaid within a specified period. A few months after I took charge, Narayan came and told me that another refinance exercise is going to end within a day or two. It appears the communication was sent only to the foreign banks and not to local banks. To cut short, we got ready all the papers and went to the Central Bank of Nigeria. I called on the director of the Central Bank of Nigeria along with Narayan. I handed over the statement to him and pleaded for his help. He told me that he would give a covering letter addressed to Standard Chartered Bank. What change I am not sure at this point, and we should ensure that the closed cover duly sealed by the CBN reaches the SC Bank in London at 10 a.m. the next morning. He also said that in the normal course he should have sent the same directly, but he will trust us and give the envelope to us. It was 3 p.m. I agreed as the amount involved was around $80 million. The director gave us coffee and asked us to wait in his cabin. At 4 p.m., we collected the sealed cover. In fact, it was a parcel. Now, how to send the cover to London? No courier will deliver at 10 a.m. the next morning. I told Narayan that the only solution is for him to fly to London. There used to be British Caledonian Airways, a subsidiary of British Airways, flying every evening to London. I telephoned an officer of the bank to come to the airport with cash. I told Narayan that he has no time to go home and pack. Narayan confidently said, "No problem, sir." So we went to the airport straight from the CBN, bought a ticket with cash, and saw him off. Literally without a change of dress or even toothbrush. Next morning, he reached London, went straight to the bank without even taking his bath. He phoned me and said in Malayalam that Bank of India London is trying to take credit for the whole thing. In a crumpled dress with an unshaven face, he went to the SC Bank and handed over the envelope, parcel, and got an acknowledgement. It was an achievement. I sent a telex to the chairman, Mr. Tiwari Court. Due to the excellent work done by Mr. Narayan, we have been able to successfully refinance $18 million. Narayan flew to London and handed over the documents before the deadline. Back came the reply. Congratulations to you and Narayan for the excellent job done. Best wishes. Tiwari. I want those who read this to note one point. I did not try to take credit for the job as it was entirely Narayan's work. But when I highlighted about Narayan, the chairman gave credit to me also. Based on this, I used to tell my officers, always highlight the work of juniors. You will automatically get the credit. I have seen a similar approach with only very few officers. One of them was Mr. C.S. Johari, who was in charge of operations department at Delhi Zonal Office. Whenever I used to call him to appreciate a letter well drafted, he will tell me, "Sir, give me a minute," and will go out. Within a few seconds, he will enter my cabin, literally, dragging a junior officer, who will be, in fact, shivering out of fear, and tell me he is the one who drafted the letter. By this approach, Johari was able to motivate his officers, and they used to work hard to keep things up to date. Coming back to Narayan, he became a sort of specialist in refinance exercise. As the foreign exchange situation became worse, there were huge delays in release of foreign exchange. Ultimately, another refinance for bills due under letters of credit was announced. It is not proper for me to reveal the figures. However, it was for a huge amount. Bank of India was to submit claims on Central Bank of Nigeria. Due to some reasons, Bank of India's foreign branches could not do the job. We, with the blessings of HO, decided to prepare the claims from our records. It was a huge exercise. Narayan accepted the challenge and wanted 20 clerks. We formed an emergency team headed by Narayan with a couple of Nigerian officers and 20 clerks, allotted exclusive space for them. Narayan planned the whole exercise meticulously. Gone was his lethargy and late coming. Finally, a statement running to almost 200 pages was prepared. I sent Narayan to London to get the signature of our London branch, who were instructed by Mr. Parulekar, who was acting as in charge of the bank, to sign on dotted lines and not to create any problems. It was done, and the forms were sent by London branch to CBN in the presence of Narayan. A few days later, CBN asked us to confirm the figures and accepted the claims in toto. It was a great relief for us. We had ensured that all pending bills of all our foreign branches were taken care of. This one exercise by Narayan more than justified his posting. Later on, the refinanced amount, which was in the nature of sovereign loan, was converted into bonds linked to oil price, and ultimately they were prematurely repaid during the oil boom period, with a huge windfall profit for Bank of India. The completion of his term with Bank of India, Narayan resigned and joined a Gujarati firm in Lagos. However, he died after about 3 to 4 years. He ensured that his family is well settled in Mumbai. Narayan's work style proved one point. It is not the quantum of work you do that is material. It is the quality of work and how we manage a crisis. There may be many unsung heroes in Bank of India like Narayan. It is the duty of senior executives to bring them into limelight and encourage them. I am again grateful to Tarang for permitting me to mention about the above episodes which are written by me years back. Well, peace. I had written about the Nigerian servants being very good in household work, including cooking Indian dishes. In one South Indian family, the wife had very well trained in maid servant for about 3 years. Then she took transfer of residence certificate and went back to India, carrying many electronic items. It was a practice amongst expatriates to send the wife for 1 year. To return within 1 year, you have to pay duty. So the husband will stay alone for a year. The wife will come back after 1 year. Thus they could avoid payment of duty and take many items. In this case, after a couple of months after the wife left, the servant wanted to write a letter to the madam. The master gave her an addressed envelope. In that letter, the servant wrote inter alia, Madam, do not worry about the master. I am taking very good care of him. The wife got the letter, took the next flight at the risk of paying duty, and landed in Lagos. What's forgeries and robbery? Part 1. It is unfortunate that our newspapers give publicity only to the frauds and cheating done by the few Nigerians. In this episode, I want to write about this aspect. Before that, I have to mention the background and the lifestyle in Nigeria. Nigeria was an agriculture based country. Palm trees were plenty. Palm oil was also produced in plenty. In fact, Malaysia, which is a leading manufacturer of palm oil, now is reported to have taken the palm plants from Nigeria. Everything changed after the discovery of oil. The oil boom in 70s brought in lot of money and the whole lifestyle changed. With huge foreign earnings, the country started importing everything required for day-to-day life. I was told that the government increased the salary of civil servants by 4 to 5 times. The traders were earning profits 300 to 400%. The rich became not only richer but richest. The poor became poorer and poorer. The number of cars on the road increased like anything. Petrol was quite cheap. With the huge increase in number of cars, traffic jams were the order of the day. To overcome this problem, a new rule was introduced. Cars ending with odd numbers will be on the road on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and those ending with even numbers could be used on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Any car can be used during weekends. So many had two cars, one with odd number and another with the even number. Even I was given two cars, had a bench car with odd number and Peugeot with even number. I told my family that enjoy the bench car there and let us be mentally prepared for a non-AC Fiat car. That is what happened. When I retired as general manager, I was having Premier Padmini Fiat car, non-air conditioned. Things turned for better after 2001. Began with a lot of money in the coffer, building activity was in full swing. The contractors also made huge money. Many Nigerians were very rich. In fact, the one Nigerian politician who lived in London hosted a big party for becoming a billionaire in dollars. He knew he would be arrested if he returned to Nigeria. Still, an attempt was made to bring him back in an interesting way. He was kidnapped during his morning walk, put in a sack and cartoon, and was to be loaded as a cargo in a private aircraft. But the London police heard his cry and saved him. Almost all the Indian business houses used to have a prominent Nigerian. It would be a retired bureaucrat or politician as their chairman. All these people used to visit Britain quite often. The companies would take care of the bill. Many Nigerians felt London was their home away from home. Once our non-executive chairman, not Mr. Bello, who was MD, also wanted to visit London for about a week. I requested our chief executive in London to fix an accommodation. It would be better to book him some apartment type accommodation and said he would take care of his transport also. I was happy that I had managed an inexpensive trip. The chairman was very happy when he returned and was full of praise for the arrangements. Then one day we found that our account with London was debited for a huge amount. The CE in fact had booked the best suite in St. James Court, a Taj hotel, and also booked a limo for 24 hours per day. He never gave me any indications of the cost in advance. Well, we had to silently respond to the inquiry. It was also very common for people to go to London for a weekend. Once I saw an officer, Mr. Lab Ojakevo, who was the manager of an important branch right below the head office at the airport. I asked him what was he doing there. He said he was going to London. I told him I was not aware about he was proceeding on leave. He said he was not going on leave. He would be back on Monday morning. In those days, BCCI was very active in Nigeria. A few officers of Bank of India who had come to Allied Bank had joined that bank after completion of their term. One such officer had become the manager of one of the branches of BCCI. In Bank of India, he was in audit department and was earned a very good name for himself. He was considered quite upright and straightforward. He used to go almost every week into London with his papers and will get the decision and will be back on Monday morning. He called on me and offered a proposal for jointly doing some good business, but he threw hints that I should do it the Nigerian way. I hope you can understand. I was shocked to see how people change in life. I politely told him that I still follow Bank of India culture and would not like to spoil my name. Thereafter, he did not meet me. A few officers from different banks had joined BCCI. I used to meet them socially. They told me that the only thing the bank was looking forward was the profit earned. full freedom for the managers to do whatever they want. Some of my Sindhi customers used to praise the service of BCCI Bank. I told them they should avail all the facilities but should avoid keeping their deposits there. When I reported in Lagos, I was surprised to learn that even Air India was having its account with BCCI. Mr. Bello was also quite upset that Air India, who were earlier dealing with Allied Bank, had shifted to BCCI. The reason given was that BCCI branch was very near to Air India office. He felt that being an Indian PSU, this would be dealing with us only. Within a few days of my taking charge, Mr. Ramachandran, who was the regional manager for Air India for Africa, called on me. He was based in Nairobi and was known to me quite well since I was in Nairobi earlier. He was an excellent gentleman. He told me that their remittances are held up. BCCI did not have a big allocations of foreign exchange, whereas Allied Bank had a bigger allocation. I told him we would definitely help Air India by giving them necessary forex, but would also ensure that their pending requests lying with the central bank through BCCI are cleared. Mr. Ramachandran gave on the spot instructions for them to operate their accounts with us. I called Arvind Narayan, requested him to go to central bank and get all old things cleared. He did that very quickly. How I was again involved with Air India might have been read by members of Galaxy of Bank of India stars that this was written by former chairman CMD Dr. R. Srinivasan and the response given by me. So I am not repeating them. Whenever a Sindhi businessman was celebrating his son or daughter's wedding in Mumbai, he used to take all his bankers from Nigeria to Mumbai. They would be booked in Taj and well taken care of. Needless to add, me, as well as me, MD of SBI Merchant Bank, used to decline the offer. One of the Sindhi businessmen bought two hotels, one in Amsterdam and another in Berlin. He arranged a chartered flight to take bankers and friends to attend the inauguration of the hotels. Tailpiece. A Nigerian had an account with Bank of India London branch. He went to the bank to withdraw cash. There was an Indian cashier at the counter. He paid the cash very quickly. The Nigerian was so pleased at this efficiency that he offered a £5 note as tips. The cashier was so shaken that he called his officers to help him return the money and to explain that there is no such practice in Indian banks. Postscript. We definitely write about frauds in the next piece. Plots, forgeries, and robbery. Part 2. Nigeria is an example as to how too much income can ruin the economy if it is not properly channeled. When I landed in Lagos, the official exchange rate was 1 naira, is equal to $1. The unofficial or black market rate was 5 naira, is equal to $1. So many of the imports were mainly for taking advantage of this disparity in value. Huge money went out of the country. I was told that one trader imported one shipload of toothpicks. Within a month of my taking charge, the government devalued the currency and the disparity disappeared. In the process, our India-based officers were also hit as their remittances value was 20% of what they sent earlier. Many of the private companies compensated their expatriate staff by paying them a part of their salary outside. On the basis that representations made by us and State Bank of India to their respective head offices, we are also paid a compensation in India. I got rupees 1500 per month and other officers about rupees 100 1000 per month. This is a solitary case of HO compensating for officers on foreign assignments. In my letter to HO, I mentioned that the head office may feel that the postings are just transfers and not for the purpose of saving money. However, when we are not in a developed country like UK or US, should we be denied the opportunity to save at least 25% of what the officers in US or UK were saving? I am grateful to Mr. Parulekar for, for clearing the request. Later on, the government had formed a committee to freeze the salaries of officers working abroad. I have given enough background of the situation then existing. The huge disparity in wealth encouraged many poor Nigerians to do something to earn quick money. It was a good ground for drug mafia to enter. Basically, many Nigerians were educated and tried to do con jobs. They were good in doing forgery. We had a first-hand experience. On one Friday afternoon, a security van entered. After taking an appointment with the cash department of Central Bank of Nigeria to draw cash for Allied Bank of Nigeria, an amount of Naira 5 million was to be drawn. The official in the van got down, presented to the officer in charge of the check duly signed by two authorized officers, one of them Mr. MB, India-based officer. Everything was all right. Cash was being loaded. Then suddenly one clerk in the central bank had a doubt. He asked his boss why Allied Bank is throwing so much money on a weekend, which they never have done. They could have come on Monday morning. The officer decided to cross-check. He phoned our MD, Mr. Bello, at his house. That was a Friday afternoon, and MD had gone home from mosque. Mr. Bello also felt that it was strange. He was not aware of any cash withdrawal. He said he would come to the central bank personally and rushed there. Please note he did not disturb me. On reaching the CBN, he found that none of the staff were from the bank. The CBN had already rounded up the persons with their security guards. The team had cleverly printed a check leaf, forged the signatures of manager of Lagos branch and that of Banerjee, who was in charge of accounts at head office. It was an excellent forgery. On Monday, Banerjee was asked to come to the police station and he was asked to sign his name 100 times. He came back and told me that even in school he never wrote an imposition, but in Nigeria he had to. To avoid payment to fraudsters, every cashier had a camera. Whenever there was a withdrawal above a particular amount, say Naira 5,000, he will automatically take a photo. The customer may not be aware that his photo was being taken. The negatives would be kept and developed when a fraud was reported. All the private companies used to give some money to be kept in the house. This was called tip money. Whenever a robber visits the house, he will first ask, "Where is the tip money?" If you do not have, you will get a beating. Thieves are always fond of stealing music systems, TVs, and video players. They would get wild if you do not have these things. One of my distant relatives was beaten up badly for not having tip money and music system. One Sunday morning, Mr. B.R. Parthasarathi was standing on the balcony on the first floor. One Nigerian gentleman standing on the road drew his attention and showed a visiting card and wanted to come up and meet him. BRP did not suspect anything. He asked him to come up and open the door. He came up along with another person. If my memory is all right, he then took out a gun and asked the family to stand in a row and then took away the music system and a few other items. Luckily, no one was hurt, but it was a shock for BRP. Once the thieves broke into a Sindhi businessman's house, he was woken up. He told them, "My friends, take whatever you want. I have some good beer in the fridge. Please have some beer and relax. Do not harm us. We will not come in the way of your work." They were very happy and told him bye bye before leaving. There were some golden rules laid down to avoid getting hurt during robbery. These rules are valid even today in African countries. And never resist when you are at the wrong side of a gun. Robbers were very fond of taking away the car and then dismantling and selling the parts in the neighboring countries. So I was told that if someone throws a gun, just get down from the car and hand over the keys. The defense attaché at the Indian High Commission was also a victim. He went to meet someone in the evening. He got down from the car and a person flashed a gun at him and demanded the keys. He did the wise thing, handed over the keys. Of course, the car was insured. In fact, the major business of insurance companies were insurance against theft of household items, car, etc. Never go for a walk after sunset. Even if you have to go to your neighbor's bungalow, please go by car. In the night when you are going by car and a tire gets punctured, do not try to change the tire. Just carry on with a flat tire until you reach the destination. Keep sufficient cash at home as well as with you so that the robber will not get annoyed. Whether you like it or not, have a music system, video player, and a TV at home. Tailpiece. One of the expatriates had a robbery at his house. He was highly agitated, and next morning he went to the police station to lodge an FIR. But after entering the police station, he had a sudden change of mind and returned. Do you know why? The two constables standing at the entrance were the ones who robbed him the previous night. It is real and not an imagination. Frauds, forgeries, and robbery, Part 3. I had moved into a new bungalow with a lot of space around. The main gate was about 200 feet from the house. Bank had arranged with a security company to provide the watchman with an Alsatian dog. I had employed a young chap as my servant about a month before moving into the new house. He was from Ghana. There were many Ghanaian immigrants in Nigeria. Immediately after we moved in, the government issued orders that all the Ghanaian immigrants would leave the country within a fortnight. My servant also was to go. He begged me to allow him to work for one more week. Out of sympathy, I agreed. It was summer. My son, who was studying in IIT Chennai, had come down for holidays. On one morning, I left for office at 7:30. My wife was teaching at the Indian school. She and my daughter, who was studying in the same school, came along with me. The servant was staying within the compound in the servants' quarter. My son, after watching some movie late in the night, was sleeping in his room. He locked the house. We locked the house and slept. At around 10 a.m., my son phoned me and asked me whether I have kept the video player somewhere else. I said no. After some time, he called again and said the music system was missing. I then felt something was wrong. I rushed home. I was surprised to find that there was no security at the gate. The dog was roaming around. It came running to me as it was familiar to me. Then my driver said that the watchman was also a man from Ghana. I found that there was a door from kitchen to go outside. It was open. The two Ghanaians have joined together and robbed me. The servant had cleverly kept my kitchen door unlocked in the night. The security company partly reimbursed my loss. Anyway, I was happy that they did not do any harm to my son who was alone at home. I think they wanted to get some money before leaving the country. They were not professional thieves. I had mentioned earlier about my driver Joseph. He was a well built person. In fact, he was the driver for the Indian executive directors for many years. He knew all the roads and the houses of all customers. I had also mentioned earlier that I would be returning after midnight from the party. He will be driving the car and will suddenly take a U-turn and change the route. When asked why, he used to say, I do not like the person standing at the end of the road. He could smell the danger and will change the routes. Sometimes we will get confused with the names. Once I wanted to go to Wadhwani's house for dinner, but he took me to the Melwani's house. Even now, people get emails from Nigeria saying $1 million will be paid to them and asking for details about their account, mobile number, etc. When I was in Bank of India Finance, one Gujarati broker came to me and showed me such a message. I advised him to ignore it. He was not convinced. Later I learned that he responded and was advised to come to Lagos with $10,000 to meet some expenses before collecting the check for $1 million. He landed in Nigeria and he was received by decent looking Nigerians and was checked in a good hotel. They collected $10,000 from him. They promised to come after a couple of hours. They did come and told him that the military intelligence have come to know about the deal and were suspicious and advised him to catch the next flight back home as he would be arrested. The businessman preponed his ticket and returned home after losing his $10,000. The whole thing was a drama. The erstwhile kings of Nigeria states used to confer the title of chief on well-known persons. After return from Nigeria, I received letter reportedly from one such king that I have been chosen for the title of chief in view of my contributions to the banking industry. I knew it was a bogus letter. Still, I wanted to play along and wrote back thanking them and asked what is expected of me. Prompt came to reply that I should contribute $5,000 to cover the expenses. I thanked them and said I am not interested. Tailpiece. A Nigerian contractor visited USA and met an American who was also in civil construction business. The American invited the Nigerian to his ranch. The Nigerian was surprised to see a palatial house surrounded by a big garden. The Nigerian asked him, how did you manage to build such a big house? The American took him to the open terrace and asked him, do you see that bridge on the river? The Nigerian said yes. The American said, I built that bridge and made 10%. With that money, I built this house. The Nigerian appreciated this. After 2 years, the American visited Nigeria and his friend invited him to his house. The American was surprised to see that it was 3 times bigger than his house in US. He asked the Nigerian, how did you build this palatial house? The Nigerian took the American to the terrace and asked him, do you see that bridge? The American asked him, where is the bridge? The Nigerian replied, I got the contract to build the bridge. I made 100%. The episode Nigerian experience is continuing. Thank you very much for your patience. Request for like, subscribe, and share.